Hello and welcome. I'm Danette Kubanda, and joining me today for a very special Zoom interview is Meghan Smith-Brooks. She is an ordained Unity minister, certified grief coach, speaker, and retreat facilitator with 25 years experience as a spiritual educator. Her first book, Unraveling Grief, A Mother's Spiritual Journey of Healing and Discovery, with a foreword by Marianne Williamson, will be coming out this summer. It's based on her personal journey of grief after the murder of her 29-year-old son in 2013. Her message is about forgiveness, acceptance, and gratitude in the process of unraveling grief to embrace life and experience renewed sense of meaning and purpose. Thank you so much for being here, Meghan.
Thank you. I look forward to our chat together.
So Meghan, what is the story behind your book that compelled you to share your experience with grief?
Well, as you said in my introduction, I have been on a 7-year journey of grief since the murder of my son, Justin, in 2013. And, you know, if any of you are listening are a parent, you can imagine one of the worst nightmares that we could ever imagine is that we would receive a phone call that on the other end of the line, we hear that our child was found dead. And when that happened to me, it was like my heart stopped. My older son, Ryan, had the grievous responsibility of having to make that call. And I still just, ache for him. When he called and said, "Mom, I don't know how to tell you this, but Justin was found in the river and he's gone." And I'm like, "What do you mean he's gone? I just talked to him." So that was the beginning of several months of a tsunami of emotion that just rolled over me, and living with nightmares and just trying to grasp what the reality of what had happened to my son. Every time the detectives called and gave me new information, and it would just start over again. And, I can't imagine how could somebody do that to my son. But I was grateful that I had the foundation of my spiritual work, that my teachings over the decades of my life gave me something to begin to heal from. And that if I was going to walk my talk, I had to use it on myself and pretend like, what would I say to somebody that came to me that this had happened to them? And as I clawed my way out of this experience and began to live again, I realized that my calling in ministry was shifting to grief work, that I wanted to support others, that there is a way to survive this. And there was this urge in with me that I had to write it. I had to write the story. I had to write what I could offer others. And so that's why this book is coming into, it was like a birthing experience for me. And I hope that it can make a difference for others.
So now I have a big question for you. How is it that you were able to forgive your son's murderers? And how important is forgiveness in the grief process?
Well, a lot of people have asked me that, forgiving somebody for a murder and, some heinous crime against others is unimaginable. But again, as I had so many years of practice of forgiveness in my spiritual belief system, I realized that I had to apply it to myself. And I recall hearing from different spiritual teachers sharing something that really had an impact on me. And I think it goes back to a teaching from the Buddha, but it states unforgiveness is like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. So unforgiveness is like a toxic energy within us that can destroy us. It can prevent us from moving forward. And I don't deserve to die because somebody did something horrible. So I had to decide to live. And as I embraced forgiveness, I realized that forgiveness is what you do for yourself. It's a gift you offer yourself. It's not letting the other person off the hook. It's not letting them off of having accountability or consequences to their actions. But I may not be the one that's responsible for implementing those consequences. So as I was able to do that, I could separate my thought process towards what serves me. How do I heal and how do I move forward? And that's how I was able to forgive.
Wow, that's so powerful. So what tips do you offer anyone who may be currently experiencing loss or pain or grief?
Well, you know, we're in an interesting time right now. We're in the midst of this COVID-19 virus, and recently the racial injustice and the protesting and the rioting and all these things that are being brought out into the open for us to see, it's triggered a lot of grief in people. That life as we knew it has literally ended, and people are grasping at when we go back to normal. I don't think there'll be another normal. And so any unresolved grief that we've been carrying around is triggered in this experience. And so my feeling is that we need to bring grief out into the conversation, to find a way to unravel it, to embrace it, and move forward in life to thrive. And so the first thing I offer anybody is to simply be gentle with yourself, to realize that you've been hit with something that you didn't expect, that change has been forced upon us, and we don't really have the roadmap of how to move forward with that. So love yourself enough to offer comfort, whatever it is that helps you. Take naps, drink tea, go for walks, ask for help. Reach out to somebody and say, please hold my hand. I don't know what to do. And that's what a grief coach can offer someone, is to help you walk through the process of going into feeling deeply so that you can heal. So we must feel to heal. And the next thing is to really realize that as we embrace grief, there is a little gift being offered to us if we're willing to accept it. And that the cherished memories of whatever it is that we feel we have lost can become something we can be grateful for. And that gratitude can be the way that we move forward. So grief to gratitude is a process that I offer in grief coaching. And ultimately, it's about making friends with grief, because grief is not just going to go away. We can't just get over it. It will be triggered over and over again. So what I realize is that if I didn't make friends with grief, it was going to continue to blindside me and trigger things that I don't anticipate. And that making friends with grief is about realizing that grief has something to offer us. It becomes our teacher, something that can enhance our life so that we can be a better self. And as we move forward with that, we thrive. And grief is a part of the human experience. None of us get off the hook from that. So it's a really good idea to learn how to live with it. And that's what I'm hoping my book can offer, is tools and practices and hope and a way to thrive no matter what life throws at you.
Such great advice. Thank you so much for sharing all of this, Meghan. To learn more about Meghan, her book, Unraveling Grief, A Mother's Spiritual Journey of Healing and Discovery, as well as any of her other projects, please visit her website at unityawakeningways.org. Thanks again, Meghan.
Thank you so much.